Dear judges of International Court of Justice, I am Pema Wangmo Lama from Mugum Indigenous Nations. My indigenous community is called Mugum and I come from a very small village called Mugu, which is located at the Himalayan region of western part of Nepal. From the last point of road access, we have to still walk for 2 more days to reach my village. And talking about the impacts of climate change, because I'm from the Himalayan region and we usually practice shifting cultivation and agropastoralism for our livelihood. And because of the climate change, our livelihood has been impacted a lot. Because we also live very close to mountains, the increasing temperature are melting our snows, and because of which we are also facing a lot of glacier lake outbursts. And those are impacting us not just in terms of lives, those are also displacing us from our lands. And when it comes to our connection to our land, our knowledge, our life ways, our worldviews are all connected to our land. And when we are displaced from those areas, we lost our livelihood, we lost our culture, we lost our languages, and which really has a great impact on how we sustain ourselves after we face the disasters. So the impacts of climate change is not just about how the climate change directly affect us. It's not just about the disaster. It's also about how the states are implementing climate initiatives as well. I think it's very important that the judges of this International Court of Justice should recognize how indigenous people's rights are mentioned in UN DRIP. And as I belong to Nepal, our country is the member state. It has recognized the UN DRIP. So it's very important to hold our states accountable to these declarations which they have signed, and also the ILO 169 Convention on the Rights of Indigenous People, which is also legally binding, but that is not being implemented enough in our communities because the states are not holding themselves accountable to those commitments. We, our indigenous people, are facing these impacts. We are dying, our lands are being taken away, our children don't have a future in their own lands right now. So I would like to request our judges to take this into consideration and take into consideration not just in terms of mitigation, but also in terms of the rights of indigenous peoples and other peoples.